Hello and welcome back to Holistic Health Tips. You know, last week I was talking about suppressed anger and people that are completely unaware that maybe they're even carrying anger, but how it affects us at a physical level and at a psychological level when we're carrying, suppressed emotions. And not only anger, but every emotion that we carry that we don't properly resolve, how it affects us. What's interesting is it was so funny because last week, literally after I did my blog, pretty much every day afterwards for 6 days, I was confronted with obvious aggression and anger outwardly by various people in my family, people just in random events on the street. Also, I was at a speaking engagement on the weekend, and this fellow who was quite obviously angry, and we all were aware of it, and he was even aware of his anger. And what surprised me is that he really was not in a state that he could even try to address his anger or that he wanted to. And I thought, oh my God, I cannot believe that people are so overwhelmed with deeply held trauma and psychological belief structures that maybe that's suppressing them and keeping them in such a state of unhappiness that they would want to stay in that state. But I realized that maybe they're not even aware that it's possible to change. And so this week I wanted to talk about and encourage people, if you know someone who is struggling with their health in any way, if you followed any of my blogs and any of my videos, you'll understand that, or you should have some capacity to understand that our mental emotional life affects our physical realm, and that when you are dealing with unresolved issues, such as maybe there was an old trauma in your past where you were so oppressed, or maybe you were beaten as a child and you were belittled and you were treated like crap, and so now you're an outwardly aggressive, angry, violent, snorting bull. I mean, go read my blog, you'll see the picture I put. Because that's what it made me feel like. It made me feel like this guy, and anybody that I've seen who's just boiling with anger and rage, they're so not happy. And it seems sad to go through life that way. And so what I want to talk about is the fact that there is ways to resolve that. But first and foremost, you have to be aware of your emotional state. Now, mind you, a couple of the people that I was confronted with their rage, I was very clearly aware that they were very aware of their rage. They were boiling in it and they needed to just discharge it. You know, when people get to that point, and we've all had that, where we've gotten so overwhelmed by life and we've been angry and resentful about having to take on so much responsibility that we didn't really want, and blah, blah, blah. We've all been there. And when we get to that point of boiling, it's because we've held on to other states inside that have just, this last little trigger was the straw that broke the emotional back of the camel, and now you need to puke it all out and discharge it. The problem is it's not really very nice to discharge it on other human beings, because what happens is then we just keep proliferating the same state over and over and over again. Because when you have a raging, overworked, beside themselves mother who is constantly dumping and yelling and screaming and carrying on. I mean, I grew up in a situation like that as well. And I've had moments where I did that as well, because I was hanging on to deeply held anger issues, deeply held emotional issues that I didn't know what to do with, but things trigger it. So know that if you are being triggered emotionally by anything going on in your life, that emotion that's coming up is yours. I think I talked about this last time. But it's so important and vital to know, because if you want to live your life with joy and happiness and levity and excitement to be alive, which is really where we all should be. We should be just so overwhelmed with life that we're always having a great time, that life just flows. When you resonate at that upper energetic level of pure life and pure satisfaction, things don't come into your life that trigger anger or deep grief or depression or any of these lower states anymore, because you don't need them, because you've resolved all those old traumas that are going on. Dynamic medicine, which is what I practice, will help you to resolve and let go of all those states. What I'm saying is, and my blog this week is about, find the joy. Release the anger, the rage, the fear, the deep griefs, the depression that's holding you down and weighing you down and making you unhappy in so many ways. And all the people around you are unhappy because you're unhappy. Find ways to release it and work through it and let it go. Know that those emotional states are yours. Even though other things trigger them and outer circumstances make you feel that way, they can only make you feel that way if that's your already state, if it's already within you. It's you feeling that state. Recognize it, own it, and then find ways to release it. Go read my blog. I give you all kinds of great homotonic remedies. I give you all kinds of great other types of physical therapies and psychological therapies that you can work on to help releasing it. But if not, then find a wonderful dynamic physician. Find someone who can help you work through those states properly and fully. Just talking about it doesn't actually release it. I'm sorry, I've been there, done that. I've done the whole psychotherapy thing. And not that I'm against psychotherapy. I know that they're out there trying to do the right thing. But if you do not find the right way to fully release, just talking about it doesn't fix the problem. You need to learn to properly release. Because really, at the end of the day, life is meant to be enjoyed. Life is meant to be lived in your own full freedom of individualism and love. To be loved and to give love. And when you're so bogged down by anger and depression and deep grief and fears, you can't experience pure joy and love because the other emotions bog them down. Now, remember what I said last week. Every emotional state has a purpose, and we're supposed to feel grief at specific times in our life. We're supposed to be angry at certain times in our life. When things trigger us, or when an occurrence happens that makes you feel that way, then feel it, experience it, and let it go. Don't hang on to it. But if you feel like you're wallowing in it and you can't let it go, then I guarantee you it's because there's some other underlying emotional trauma from the past that you haven't fully resolved. Do some work, find ways to release the things that you're hanging on to at a level that is not allowing you to fully experience joy and love and peace and wonderfulness, because that's what life is about. So, I hope that this blog has made you a little bit more aware of how our emotions can weigh us down and how traumas can affect us, and how having those outer emotions are not leading you to any wonderful, great state if you don't work through them properly. So honor your emotions, recognize them, work through them, let them go. That's what this blog is all about, this video blog. So hopefully it's given you some things to think about. I'm sure it has, and I hope you enjoyed it. Please make comments if you want. And I guess that's it. I really wasn't prepared for this one this week and wasn't sure what I was going to say. So thanks for following along. And I hope you enjoy. Take care. Have a great week.